We have Sunday brunch almost every single Sunday, and one of my favorite things to make for that are scones. Scones are delicious. They're such a treat, and they actually are quite easy to make as long as you follow some simple rules. I like to make scones all year long, and so depending on what season we are in, that will dictate the kind of scone that I make. I personally love fresh fruit scones. So during the summer, I do take advantage of all the fresh local fruit that we have. Because with fruit scones, the fruit is the highlight. And what tastes best? Fresh and local. They're so flavorful. So the better tasting your fruit is, the better your scone is. So today I am going to make my family some blueberry lemonade scones, and I thought I would just show you how I make them so that you too can make them for yourself or your family or your friends in the very near future. The tips to follow for successful scones are: number one, look at that timing. Preheat your oven. Your oven needs to be hot and preheated before you start making the scones and putting your ingredients together. So for this recipe, preheat your oven to 415 degrees. The second tip is cold butter. Do not use room temperature or soft butter. You want cold. The cold butter will make a crumbly texture with your flour ingredients, your dry ingredients, and that crumbly texture is what gives your scones the fluffy, crumbly, savory texture that are a hit every time. Now for cream, technically you can use a whipping cream or half and half. Today I'm using half and half because that's what I have. And again, make sure it's cold. So what I do is I pre-measure the butter and the cream out, and then I put it back into the fridge, and it does not come out until I need it. And especially in the summer, because things can heat up really fast. So if you follow those tips, you will have successful scones. All right, without further ado, here are the ingredients that you will need. First off, you will need 3 cups of flour. Now to measure the flour, just scoop it into the measuring cup, kind of like shake it in like that, and then level it off. So 3 cups like that. Then a half a cup of white sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a cup of cubed, very cold butter, and then 1 1/4 cups of cream. A cup of blueberries, so these are fresh. If you use frozen, just make sure that you bake them a little longer because there'll be extra moisture. So yeah, 1 cup roughly of fresh blueberries for this recipe, washed and dried. We will also be zesting 1 lemon into the scone mixture. Later on, we will juice the lemon and use icing sugar to make a glaze. The zest will be in the actual scone. And then a pastry cutter. If you have one of these, great. If you don't, you can use your hands to mix up the butter. That will work, but I do recommend that if you use your hands to mix the butter into the flour mixture, that you put it back in the fridge as so, just to make it cold again, because the heat from your hands will start to soften the butter quite a bit. So you can do them 2 different ways, but I will be using a pastry cutter today. Okay, first things first, preheat the oven 415. I showed you in the ingredients, I put the cream and the butter back into the fridge. So now we'll move on to the next step of preparing our dry ingredients. 3 cups of flour already measured out. And we're just going to put in the rest of the dry ingredients, starting off with 1 cup of white sugar, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Then a little stir. If you do not use salted butter like I do, then just add a little salt into this as well. But I use salted, so I do not add any extra. Next up, the zest. That's a lot of zest. Oh, and it smells so good. So it's gonna add such a nice vibe to the blueberry scones. Okay, we'll just give that another stir. So we don't want a big clump of lemon zest in one of the scones. All right, now we are going to add the cold butter. It's so cold it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Now we're just gonna cut in the butter. We're gonna still have clumps of it in the flour mixture. So we don't want it to become clump free. Every once in a while you're gonna have to remove the butter because it sticks in there. Your hands will get dirty making these. So the goal is just to get the large clumps to be smaller. And that is what it will look like. Okay, next up, the cream. By this point in the recipe, I work quite quick just because, again, I want to keep things cold. It is summer, so that can be a little challenge. But again, if it warms up too much, just put it back in the fridge for a couple minutes. And then once the dry and wet ingredients are incorporated well, we're going to add in the blueberries. Give them a little stir. Okay, perfect. And there we are. Just gonna put a little bit of flour now on the counter. And bring that dough and any stray blueberries back into the batter. Get a little bit of flour on your hands, pat it out. The shape does not matter because we're going to cut it up, but you just do want it to be a little bit, like not too thin. It's still going to be about an inch thick. Just distribute some blueberries if we need to. Some may burst. There we go. I'm going to wash my hands and get a knife. Here's my pan, parchment paper to line it. And now we're just going to cut them up, whatever shape you want, basically. Traditionally, I do a lot of triangles, like that. Depending on what you're serving for your brunch or your afternoon tea or whatever, will depend on how big you make the scones, because you can make them larger than this or smaller, especially if you have these mixed in with a bunch of other items for your brunch or tea or snack. So I made mine quite large and I have 10 all together. Now, normally you could brush these with some cream and add some sugar on top, especially if they were plain scones. But because I'm gonna add a glaze on top later, they're going in just like this. Depending on your oven and whether or not you use fresh or frozen blueberries will depend on your baking time. So anywhere, even with fresh, between 12 and 16 minutes. When you look at your scones and if you look in the middle, if it still seems doughy, bake them a little bit longer. They do get a little bit brown around the edges. That's good because again, they're going to puff up and they're going to become thick. So you want to make sure that they are fully cooked in the center. And normally when I've done that, if I don't see like wet dough in the center, they're good to go. While those are baking up, I'm gonna move ahead with the lemon glaze. Now, you may not like this, but I do not measure the ingredients for the glaze. I will show you the consistency that you're looking for though. And I don't measure for good reason. Number one, every lemon produces a different amount of juice. So it's kind of like, you know, you can't control God's creation. So I don't want to waste any of the lemon juice either. So I estimate this is quite a large lemon. If it was a smaller one, I would probably use the whole one. And I think with this one, I'm going to use about 3/4 of it. Juice it up, get what I can from it. Then I am just going to add however much icing sugar I need to get the consistency I'm looking for. So I'm just going to use the same bowl that my blueberries were in. Oh, I need a knife. We're gonna put this part aside, use that for some water or something in the future. And I've learned that if I juice it, ooh, it's so juicy. If I juice all this at one time, it's gonna go everywhere. So I'm just going to cut it in half. Ah. Oh man, did it anyways. Just gonna fish out the one seed that made it through. Clean as we go. All right, so that's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of juice, which is good. 2 spoons, 1 to stir, 1 to scoop. I'll start off with that. Let's see where to go. I want the glaze to completely glaze over, so it will be on the thinner side. But that is way too thin. That will just run right off. I had to add in 1 more large tablespoon there. And I think we are right where we want it to be. Yes. That is it. That is perfect. All right, now we're just gonna put it aside until those are done. Ooh, boy. Here is a good angle for you so you can see they're golden brown. None of the centers look doughy, especially the middle ones. Nice. They just came out of the oven like you saw, so I'm just gonna let them cool there for a few minutes, then transfer them over to my cooling racks. Look at that beautiful scone. So good. This is the evidence of how good they're gonna be. So these do not have to be perfectly cooled off before we add our glaze. They can still be a little bit warm because I'm not expecting it to stick like a swirl or anything. Now, if you want to not have too much to clean up, a good idea is to put parchment paper underneath. It makes it simple. I have not done that, but I have in the past. The glaze, I'm just gonna put it on with my teaspoon and just manipulate the direction that it falls so that all parts of the scone, at least the top, get some glaze. Sometimes I do 1 layer of the glaze, sometimes I do 2. I just kind of take a look and see, A, do I have more glaze? B, does it need more? So I've used up every ounce of glaze I have, so 1 layer will be all I can do unless I make more, but looking at it, 1 layer is perfect. Now I'm just going to let these continue to set. For me personally, I need to start thinking about what else I'm going to serve with these. But for you, if you're not in the same position as me, just let these set up for a little bit longer. Let them cool off a little bit longer before you enjoy them. I know I'm probably just speaking for myself, but aren't these beautiful? Oh, so good. Okay, so when you want to see if they are ready to be enjoyed, you just gently touch the glaze. And when you touch it, if it feels firm, you are good to go. Man, I love scones. These are so good. How beautiful they are. Every time I make them, I'm like, I eat with my eyes first and then enjoy the flavors. To me, they're perfection. I love a good scone. So those aren't very hard to make, are they? They're pretty easy and they don't take very long. They are always crowd pleasers. I have made these for coworkers, family, friends, potlucks, you name it. And people love them. It's funny because for how easy they are to make, it's actually kind of shocking how few people make them, at least in my orbit. Not very many people try to bake scones. They go to Cobb's if they want some good quality ones, or they just don't have them at all, or only when I make them. So you need to give this recipe a try. They are so good. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching how to make these blueberry lemonade scones. I hope you give it a try. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, but give them a try. They're delicious, they're simple, and I'm pretty sure they will make your summer a little bit happier, but a lot more delicious.